Hi everyone, and welcome to this session on making the most of Year 12. My name is Ellen and I'm a Schools and Colleges Liaison Officer at Royal Holloway, University of London. Today's session is going to cover the following topics. We're going to talk a little bit about A-levels, and then we're going to talk about researching university, preparing for UCAS, and other opportunities that you can get involved with while you're in Year 12. So let's start by talking about your A-levels. So why are your A-levels so important? Well, they help you prepare for further study. If you're thinking about going into university or an apprenticeship, when you finish your A-levels, hopefully they'll help prepare you as best as they can for continuing with your education. A-levels are recognised internationally, and they allow you to specialise in your areas of interests. One of the biggest parts about taking your A-levels is that you can start to develop some key skills. Take a moment to think about some of the skills you might get from your A-levels. You might have thought of one of these. Independence is a really big one. Transitioning from your GCSEs to your A-levels involves quite a different learning style. You might have a lot of free time that you have to manage. You might have to undertake projects that you are in charge of. So independence in terms of learning, as well as just general life, definitely comes from your A-levels. You might also learn specific techniques, whether these are how to work in a lab, how to analyse a certain text, or write an essay. These are also really useful if you do continue with your education. There's also things like organisation, communication skills. I've already kind of mentioned time management, problem-solving skills that you start to develop through your A-levels and you will take on in the future, whether that's at university, in an apprenticeship, or in employment. All of these skills will definitely come in handy. The subjects that you've chosen to study at A-level will have an impact on the courses that are available to you at university. Now that you've started studying your A-levels, you can start to look ahead. Is university the next goal for you? And if so, what are the entry requirements for some of the courses that you might be interested in? These will give you clear grades that you need to reach for, and they'll help keep you focused on your goals. We're going to talk about choosing the right university and course for you a little bit later. In terms of succeeding when it comes to your A-levels, there are three kind of main tips that we have. Spending your time wisely, finding a space that works for you for your revision or your assignment work, and staying organised. Spending your time wisely is crucial to succeeding in your A-levels, while also making sure that you don't get overwhelmed with work. It's really important to find a work and social life balance, where you don't neglect socialising with your friends and family, but also you don't forget to get your work done as well. We recommend allocating specific times in which to complete your revision or your work, drawing yourself up a timetable that fits in with your daily plan. It's also important to concentrate on all of your subjects, even those that you find hard or more challenging than others. Make sure you allocate an even amount of time to work on all of your subjects so that all of your grades are the best that they can be. We'd also recommend spending some time reading around your subjects. This can help you broaden your knowledge and understanding of the field that you're learning about, and might even help you on your assignments and your revision as well. Remember, take breaks. Some people work differently at different times of day. Some people can only work for short bursts of time and need to have breaks in between. So figure out the way that you revise and you write your assignments best. And once you've learned that, that will hold you through the rest of your education career. If you learn it now while you're in your A-levels, it will be very useful if you do go on to university to keep those techniques and know when to take breaks and what kind of schedule works best for you. It's also great to find a space that works for you. Everyone's individual, and the way that you revise or do your work best may not be the same as your friends or your siblings. Think about if you work better in any of these scenarios. Do you have to have complete silence, otherwise you get distracted? Why not try the local library or go somewhere in your home where you know you won't be disturbed? Do you prefer having some background noise while you work to keep you focused? You could try working in a local coffee shop. Also, think about if you need a change of scenery. Will sitting at the same place after a certain amount of time make you bored and uneasy? Then you can try and change your location every few hours or every few days. Or if you need to stick to a routine, then we'd recommend setting up one area in your house or wherever that you go to study and making that your dedicated revision spot. It's not always great to do all of your revision and A-level work from your bed. You might want to reserve your bedroom or places like that for socialising, for relaxing and for chatting, and then have a specific desk or a place where you can do your revision. This helps your mind to focus when you're working versus when you're relaxing. Finally, staying organised is also really key to your A-level success. When you have physical notes, we'd encourage you to use files and subject dividers, anything that you can just to make searching through them a little bit easier. If you have them saved on a computer or laptop, try and label your files and maybe even use colour coding. When you're taking notes in the first place, try and make them readable and keep them as tidy as possible, so that when you're doing your revision, you can go back and look at them quickly and understand what you've written. In terms of planning your work, try and plan your assignment or your revision around the deadlines that you have. Draw up a revision schedule for yourself as soon as possible and try and stick to it. I definitely encourage writing a to-do list so that every day you know exactly what sections you're meant to be revising or exactly what sections of your assignment you're meant to be researching, and you can check it off as you go and give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back for completing each task. It's also good to stay organised with your predicted grades and your target grades. So know exactly where you're at once you get your predicted grades from your teacher, and know where you want to be. You might even be able to calculate the exact kind of marks you have to get in order to reach those target grades, and that can really keep you motivated. So those were our top tips about succeeding in your A-levels and the things that you can really do to make sure that you get the best grades possible. Now we're going to talk quickly about another part of Year 12, which is starting to think about university. Year 12 is a great time to start thinking about your options once you finish your A-levels. You can go straight into employment or you can continue with your education journey. As you can see from this ladder, you will have already completed level 1 and 2 through your GCSEs. Your A-levels count as level 3 of your education journey. To continue with education, there's a whole load of other choices out there. Level 4 can be found through higher apprenticeships, Level 5 can be found through a foundation degree, and Level 6 is the level of an undergraduate degree. Now you can get to this level of education through either going to university or through a degree apprenticeship. Today we're going to focus on talking about the university route. So here's what you can do to start planning for university while you're in Year 12. You can start attending open days. You can start thinking about if university is the right choice for you. You can start researching universities, and you can start to prepare your UCAS application and personal statement. We're going to talk about these last two today. Once you get into Year 13, you'll be expected to finalise your personal statement and submit your UCAS application in January. You'll also be asked to submit your student finance applications as well. Then in the spring, you'll be asked to decide on your choices for university, apply for accommodation, and by the end of Year 13, you'll have your results and hopefully you'll be headed to your choice of university. Now there are over 185 universities to choose from, and that's just in the UK, so it's important to do some research so that you make the right choice for you. So you really need to think about this as a personal choice. Think where you'd like to be in the country. Do you want to be close to home or as far away from home as possible? Do you want to be in a city, by a beach, or in the countryside? And when you do go to visit universities on open days, do you get a good feel for the location just outside of the university area? Because you're probably going to be living there for at least 3 years. There are 3 main types of university. Collegiate, where the university is broken up into smaller colleges where you may live or study. Examples of these are Oxford and Cambridge. Campus universities, where the entire university facilities are usually based on one site, so it's only a short walk between, for example, your lecture theatre and your accommodation. These universities often have restaurants and nightclubs on site. An example of this is Royal Holloway. Or city universities, which are usually based in major UK cities and spread out all along the city. You may need to get public transport between one building to another, but obviously you have all of the facilities that are available in a major UK city. An example of this is Manchester University. Think about which of these types suits you best when you're choosing the university that's right for you. Now, of course, it's not all about the university, it's also about your course choice. Make sure that you choose a course that you are genuinely interested in and that you can see yourself being motivated to study for at least 3 years. Think about if you understand the nature of the subject. If the subject's new to you, it's okay to want to study something at university that you don't already take at A-level. Just make sure that you really understand what it is you're going to be studying. See if it's going to be scientifically or social science or arts-based. And make sure that the modules you're looking at that are offered by universities are really making you excited. One of the main resources you can use to look at universities and courses are prospectuses. Every university will produce a prospectus that lists all of their undergraduate courses as well as a little bit more of information about them as an institution. These can be quite heavy hard copies, so if you do have a physical book, we'd encourage you to tear out the important bits so you don't end up dragging heavy books around. They're also available online. When you're looking through prospectuses, you definitely look at the modules on offer for each course that you're interested in, as well as the entry requirements and seeing if a course is accredited, especially for law or psychology courses. You can also read about accommodation options and extracurricular choices at each institution in prospectuses. Year 12 is also a great time to get involved in events like Taster Days. These give you a chance to visit a university and learn about the specific subject that you're looking to study. They usually include example lectures, discussions and tutorial sections from the people that might actually be teaching you should you go and study there. They give you a chance to meet staff, look at the department and the facilities that are on offer, and gives you a really good insight into how that particular university, that department, and that subject works. The great thing about these is that they can also be used in your personal statement to show universities' admissions tutors how interested you are in a particular course. Similarly to Taster Days are Open Days, which are a really important way for you to get to know the universities that you're applying to. We'd encourage you to go to as many Open Days as possible and to do some planning before you go. In order to make the most of Open Days, before you go, think about what departments you want to visit, the entry requirements for the course, the league table and student satisfaction ratings, and the facilities that you want to see when you go and visit, as well as I already mentioned, checking out the surrounding area. Remember, you can bring a parent, a carer, or even a friend to Open Days, and it's always great to have them with you to get a second opinion. Here's a quick summary of some things that you can do to research universities while you're in Year 12. Firstly, you want to make a list of pros and cons, considering if going to university is the right choice for you, and whether you want to continue with your education journey, or whether you'd like to go straight into employment or an apprenticeship. If you think that that is the right thing for you, then why not start to create a short list of your favourite universities based on things like location, type of university, and other factors. Then you can look into events that are held by the university, Taster Days, Open Days, as well as online events. There's often webinars, discussions that you can have with current students. There's loads of different things that you can do without even leaving your house. Of course, it's important to work as hard as you can to achieve your goals, and having those entry requirements for the universities that you are interested in applying to in your mind can definitely keep you motivated. And it's very important to remember that this is your choice and not anybody else's. So as you're going through this decision-making process and researching universities, make sure that you're comfortable with all of the choices that you're making. Now, as well as doing research on the types of universities and courses that you're interested in, you can also spend some time in Year 12 preparing for your UCAS application. UCAS is the platform that you use to apply to any universities and courses in the UK. Here is a quick summary of the process that you'll take part in when you're actually applying. You'll start with registering, entering your personal details and any additional information. Then you'll select your choices, add in your education details, your employment details, insert your personal statement. Your teacher or tutor will complete a reference for you. You'll sign a declaration, make a small admin payment, and then your application will be sent off via UCAS to the universities that you have applied for, and it will be converted into a track for your UCAS application status. The two that you can focus on while you're in Year 12 are your choices and your personal statement. In the choices section of your UCAS application, you'll be asked to make a maximum of 5 choices. These can be at 5 different institutions or universities, or they can include multiple course choices at the same university. There's an example here of option 1 and option 2. So this is where all of your researching and visiting universities will come into play. You need to shortlist your choices down to 5 options that you want to apply for. It's really important to remember that while you can choose different courses at the same university, or indeed different courses at different universities, they should be closely related. The reason for that is that you only get one personal statement to show why you are the right candidate for that course, and it's very hard to show an admissions tutor that you're interested in 2 very different courses in just one statement. So while you should use Year 12 to start thinking about the choices you're going to put down on your UCAS application, another thing that you should really start thinking about is your personal statement. Well, what actually is a personal statement? Well, it's like a short reflective essay, and it's just about why you're the best candidate for that particular course at university level. It's 4,000 characters or 47 lines long, so about 3/4 of an A4 page. And as I said, you only get one personal statement for all of the courses that you are applying for. This is your one chance to stand out to an admissions tutor and to express why you're really the best candidate for this particular course. While you won't have to submit your personal statement until probably the autumn when you just started Year 13, there's absolutely no harm in getting started as early as possible while you're in Year 12. You can use this time to draft again your personal statement so that you can make it as perfect as possible. Some quick tips are to start with your subject and get a good idea of the courses that you're applying for from all of the research you've already been doing. It's really important to make sure that your personal statement is written by you and not by anybody else, because admissions tutors want to hear directly from you. And keep in mind that if you are applying for Oxford or Cambridge, there is a slightly different expectation on what your personal statement is about, so make sure that you look that up now. You should start with the course that you've chosen to apply for, so 75% of your statement should be academic about the course that you're applying for. Think about why you've chosen that subject, what particularly interests you, where that interest came from, and show the people reading it that you're competent in it. This is where you can talk about that independent research and the wider reading that you've done around your studies. Then, about 25% of your personal statement can include information about your extracurricular activities. If you do anything like play a sport or get involved in a hobby, or maybe you have any work experience, or you've done something that's related to your subject, this is the time to cover it. It's important to note that admissions tutors don't just want a long list of all the things you do, but they want to hear about the skills you've developed from these activities and how these would apply when you go to university and how you would help make that university community a better place. You can also discuss supercurricular activities, and those are things like work experience or any other activities that are directly related to your chosen studies. Here are some top tips from current admissions tutors on what makes a great personal statement. Read through them and think about the types of things that you can do to make your personal statement stand out. Now, as well as studying for your A-levels, researching university, and preparing for your UCAS application, there are lots of other opportunities that you should and can get involved in while you're in Year 12. You can enhance your UCAS application and your knowledge of your academic subject in general by getting involved with some of these academic opportunities. Why not attend an exhibition, listen to podcasts or watch documentaries, or do some wider reading around your subject? You can also apply for university residential programmes or attend free lectures at your local university that are related to your subject. This will help enhance your knowledge of your subject in general. Hopefully it will be quite enjoyable, and as I said, it's something great that you can write about in your personal statement when the time comes. Now, we know that you're going to be very busy throughout the school year, but universities also know that you do have quite a long summer break when you're studying for your A-levels. So you could definitely use that opportunity to get involved in some extracurricular activities. Travelling, doing Duke of Edinburgh, playing a musical instrument, performing, getting involved in sports, and volunteering are some great ways to get some new skills, make some friends, and again, all of those things can enhance your UCAS application. Work experience is another great one, and it is important to make your UCAS application as strong as possible by supplementing it with things like work experience. Every application will benefit from showing that you have had wider experience than just your studying, because it shows that you've got involved in things other than just school. You have skills, you can be an adult in the workplace, and you can show that you can put that knowledge and those skills into action. It's important to remember that work experience is a prerequisite for certain courses, including medicine, dentistry, and veterinary courses. So if you are looking at applying to one of those, then you should look into arranging work experience as soon as possible, because you don't want to get to the point where you're applying in year 13 and you haven't done the required work experience that you need to put down on your application. But as I said, even if you're not applying for one of those courses, work experience is a great way to enhance your application and just generally give you some great skills to take to university and beyond. So, to summarise everything that we've talked about today, here are our top tips for making the most of your Year 12. Firstly, start the year as you mean to go on. Try and start your year with positive habits, a positive mindset, so that this success continues from the start of your A-levels all the way through to when you get your university place. As I mentioned, spend your time wisely. Try and manage your time between work and social life. Take breaks and find the way that works best for you for studying. In the same vein, find a space that stimulates your mind and allows you to study, and make sure that you're properly organised. As I've mentioned already, getting into these great study habits while you're doing your A-levels will really serve you well if you do go to university, because it means that you know exactly how you learn best, and hopefully it will also allow you to get the best results possible on your A-levels. We'd also recommend that you make use of all available resources, so do some wider reading on your subject, get to really know any academic or extracurricular activities you can get involved in that relate to a course you might want to study at university or an interest that you have in a particular subject. This includes speaking to your tutors and teachers. They're great resources for information about your subject. We'd also recommend that you take part in new experiences, so those extracurricular or academic opportunities that we mentioned are great ways to gain new skills, meet new friends, and start to build up kind of a CV or a list of things you can talk about in your UCAS application. When it comes to researching universities, Year 12 is definitely a time to start going to university open days or going to the digital equivalents, looking at prospectuses, looking at course finders to see what types of things you might be interested in applying for. And finally, it's important to remember to take time out for yourself. Remember that many people say their A-levels and their school years were the best time of their lives. So go out, enjoy yourself, succeed, set your goals high, try your very best, and if you can, try and enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening today. It would be really, really useful for us if you could provide us with some feedback as to how you found the session today. And also on the feedback form, there's an opportunity for you to send in any questions that you may have about making the most of Year 12, about university, or about Royal Holloway in general. To access the form, there's 3 different ways you can do this. You can scan the QR code with your phone. There's a link in the description to this video, or you can type in the URL yourself. If you are interested in learning more about Royal Holloway, then please go to our website and book into one of our open days. Thank you very much.